Hey there, this is James, and I'd like to show you my two range hoods that I have and some of the design constraints that I have with them. And I'll discuss about the opening up here. We'll try to make this pretty quick. So this is the original one that came with my house. It's 40 inches long. It's very old. Bronze from the 70s. So 40 inches long. It's 6 inches high, and if you notice there's a step right here, and that step is going to cause a lot of issues. So here's where the opening was for the power and the air, and when I make the new one I'll have to account for that and design around it. The new one has the power opening in a different location relative to that. The new one here is also 5 inches tall instead of 6, but this is just the donor hood, so all that's going to change. Here's the control panel on the front, and the plan for the control panel is I'd like to use the same opening shape and mounting holes, but I'll just pass all of my control cables through there. I'm going to transfer over the lights from this one and the screen and the guts from inside, but all the sheet metal is going to change. So here's the range hood that I'm using for a donor. I've been doing some testing with the controls and the lights, and that's might have to do with what's going on there. Okay, so the screen pops out right here like that. It's held in with spring clips back here and a plastic retainer. So I'm designing around keeping this mechanism. Okay, and if I turn it over, the side panels pop out again with the same spring right there. Okay, and this opens up, so these lights will come to the new one, this will come to the new one, and this box will come to the new one. Of course, the electronics will to a certain point, but this control panel will have the wires cut. I'll install a new connector here so I can swap this back in later when I move. And then I'll just put relays across here, and that's how the main control will work. Additionally, because of this, because of that lip up top, this box is not actually going to fit. I can only come 12 inches from here to here, so I'm going to have to modify this box when I go to switch it over. But that box is just designed to vent here, which vents inside the house through a charcoal filter if you don't vent to the outside. So here's the model of my hood. We're using Inventor 2015. I went through a lot of different iterations, but this is where we ended up with. So this is what it'll look like. Obviously I had to design the shape to fit the opening, place the vent hole in the right spot, and the power entry. I have a cutout here in the front for the standard control panel, but I'll replace that with my own. And here's the insert that I made. I went through a lot of different iterations on this as well. I ended up using this slots, and I'm going to have the sensors up behind the slots. Here's my original model, and I had a cutout like this, and I was going to have a replaceable panel, but I think the slots will work better. Of course, I had the model here to get the plastic insert for the tab to remove the filter. I've got the cutouts for my lights. So there's that. I'll just show you really quick some of the iterations on the hood that I actually used. That was the very first one, or thereabouts. So I had originally designed it where it would come in the middle, and I went away from that because I wanted it to be easier to manufacture since we're only making one. And of course the very first design had a round hole because I still hadn't removed the original hood yet. And then we started looking at designs like our donor hood that have an arc coming off the front, and that's what this one would have looked like. And again, I went away from that, even though that's the profile of the donor hood, just because it would be a little bit more complicated to manufacture. Then I had this design, and this was almost complete, and then I went to this design here where I've got everything in the final location. I've got the bolt holes cut out for the fan to go inside. Power entries in the correct spot. So that's what that looks like. And if we go over here, I can show you inside the hood and what that looks like. Okay, so here it is inside. So it's designed to wrap around the screen. I've got tabs to hold down the insert, and it's designed as well that to remove it, the panel will slide backwards towards the back of the hood. And when you slide it backwards, then you will have enough room here to remove it. So that panel will just slide in and out like that. So that's the design, and I've got this sent out for quote, and we'll get it on order in the next week.